Hello, this is Let's Talk About It show, and today we talk about the journey to entrepreneurship and a balanced life, and our special guest know a lot how to help you start and where to start, actually. This is Gabi Alcala. Hello, Gabi.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for joining. So tell us more about your journey to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think everything started 5 years ago. I joined a startup like 8 years ago, and it was thrilling. It was incredible. It was an amazing journey. I felt very connected to what I was doing. And after that startup, I said, okay, I'm going to do consulting until I find another startup like the one I had. But then one project came, another project came, and then another one. And then I realized this is what I love. I really love helping organizations, different organizations, working with different stakeholders, different projects. So I decided to formalize it and created my own consulting business. So I created my own company too. And it's been 5 years since I did it.
Good.
Yes.
Good. What was it like for you to take the steps to overcome your fear? I mean, you must have been really afraid. Can I do this? Or is it going to be successful?
So I think when I started doing it, I wasn't planning to do it full time. So I wasn't afraid. I'm like, I'm going to do this until I find another job. It gives me something to do while I find the right job. When I finally said, okay, I'm going to formalize this, my mindset was, okay, let me think that I'm a startup. People start businesses and they say, when I'm a startup, I'm going to give my best for the next 3 years with the ups and downs and see what happens. And the worst case scenario, I'll go back to a full-time job. So I changed my mindset. I realized that a lot of the things that I was putting in my head was me, not what was actually really happening. So by changing the mindset, I was able to feel better. I mean, I wouldn't say that you feel confident 100% of the time, but I used some tools to remind me that I had a startup and there were risks and it could go well or it could go bad. I was lucky that my husband has a full-time job and I can take the insurance from him. So that helped me as well. And we had some savings that would allow me to take this risk.
Well, I think that's remarkable that you were able to do this. And excuse me, and it sounds like you had a support network.
Yeah, so first, I'm a very organized person. So I make sure that early in the morning, I did exercise. And I normally exercise with friends. So that's already a connection there. I had structured my day so that it was like a full-time office job in a way. And then I make sure that I connected with people afterward. And to do this job, you really need to be networking all the time. So that was sort of my support group. Like I was in touch with people constantly. And as I have been doing this, I have joined organizations that support consultants. And I have met other consultants. So I try to get together with them and exchange ideas and, brainstorm. And that has been very helpful.
I like that.
That's very impressive. Well, Gabi, one question for me. I know many people believe that a full-time job is stability, that paycheck that many people depend on because of that feeling of stability. But we know from history, those jobs just end suddenly and people end up like, well, what do I do next? What about our listeners, our viewers actually is these are the audience people who were forced to stop their career for unforeseen reason as disability, either visible or invisible. So basically not able to perform for a job. And here's another level of fear. So what will be your advice to those individuals who are forced to start their career in freelancer or just their own business or convert hobby into business? What will be your advice how to overcome that fear and what to start? What are the small steps to start from?
So I think one way to overcome fear is by start doing, like getting to action. If you think too much, you think about all the things that can go wrong. When you start doing things, you realize what are the things that you're good at. You realize how much you know, because sometimes we think that we don't know enough. I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm going to tell people, because certain things are obvious to us. And we think it's obvious, so not everybody knows this. The reality is that sometimes the skills or the experience you have are not obvious to other people. And the only way to realize that is by doing it and getting in there. So that's one thing. The other thing I would say is there are many organizations across the United States. And I suppose in other countries, I don't know, I can't speak about that will support small businesses for free. In the United States, there is one that is called SCORE, SCORE. They provide amazing resources to support you in your journey. And the Small Business Administration as well. So those are things that I will say to get you started. And then as you move on, find people that you can brainstorm ideas with. And it's scary, it's true, but it's also scary when you're in a full-time job, like you said. And you never know when you're going to get there and they say you're laid off. At least when you're an entrepreneur, you're developing your own skills. And you are forced, even with that fear you have, will force you into learning, will force you into finding resources. It's like, I think every time I feel insecure or fearful is when I get more into action.
So fearful is a helpful tool.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes, it certainly is. You must be quite an example for a lot of your friends. And tell me something, when you were probably about a teenager, do you ever imagine that you'd be someone now as an entrepreneur with her own business and at the same time motivating other people?
I think so. I did, actually. Going back, when I think about when I was in my early years, I do remember imagining myself as a consultant. But I kind of forgot that I had that image of me until recently. I say, oh my God, this is exactly what I thought of me when I was younger.
That's amazing. So we all have a capacity to start living our dream.
It is. I love history. So I was reading this book about Abraham Lincoln recently, for the second time, actually. And one of the things that they had that he really wanted to do was in the early 1830s or 40s, I believe, he wanted to get to Illinois, from Kentucky to Illinois, because he felt that everything to be invented was already done. He was afraid. But it's kind of interesting that they have this dream of being an inventor, making something with your life, like you have. You struck out. I can see you right now being there, striking out on your own, making something happen. Who's somebody that inspired you to do this?
I don't know. I think it were the circumstances. And then, that's not the circumstances, but also I value my independence a lot. One of my biggest fear is to be owned by something. Or, like someone had to tell me what to do or where to take time off. Like I love traveling. It's one of my passions. So I don't want somebody to tell me you only have 10 days a year to travel, especially when I'm young and healthy. So I think that was my force. And it's my force now to continue doing this. So I think you need to connect with those values. What do you really value in your life? And that will help you determine what you want to do with it professionally and in other areas.
Well, I think that's good. There's a lot people can gain from this because I think that deep down inside, everybody wants to be the master of their own ship. We don't always feel like we know how, but we want to do it. And like you mentioned with SCORE and all, there's a lot of resources that don't cost you an arm and a leg that can actually help you do this.
There are a lot of groups, there are a lot of organizations in every country. I know for sure there's a lot of in US and Canada, as well as in Europe and anywhere else. And basically nowadays, social media provides great support groups once you found that right community. And our dear viewers, we want you to be inspired by Gabi and her story. Thank you very much for sharing. That is great message. And we just want to every of our viewers being on fire today and start that movement towards the dream, no matter what.
Yes, I have to tell you, Gabi, that when I was listening to you speak, I was thinking about the old adage that I heard a man say one time: "My way or the highway." I thought about you just now. Okay, my way or the highway.
So our message is listen to your inner stubborn teen. Remember what you want it to be, and let's get going. Thank you very much, Gabi.
Thank you so much.